good for Thursday, Wednesday, depending on how much it rains. Could be touch and go, but we're going to have track equipment and everything there. If it's possible to make it happen, we're going to. So,
is it ITPA both nights, Jacob?
Yeah, we're ITPA both nights this year, and kind of switched the classes up pretty good from what we've had in the past a little bit. Some similar, but we got 3 or 4 new classes, or at least classes on a new night. Trying to shake things up a little bit and get a better mix of diesel and alcohol and trucks and tractors and all that good stuff.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I like to hear that. Have you had your tractors out yet this year?
Yeah, we've had 2 ITPA pulls so far. We started out June 6th, I think it was, in Pleasant Hill, and then last week we were in Newton, Illinois. So both of them ran pretty decent. So we're still tuning things in, but we're feeling good about the year so far. So.
You just joined us, fans. We got Jacob Kessler on from the Fisher Community Fair, also driver of, it's the night shift light super, right? That's what you call it?
That's right. Yep.
Okay. You got ITPA Wednesday at 6:30. So one classic tractors. Tell me what that class means, Jacob.
So I think it's 1939 to 1952. We have an antique class and a classic class in ITPA, and my dad started out in the antique class, and that's 1938, I believe it is, and newer. So it's like styled and unstyled for those of you who are antique guys, whether you got the radiator front grill or you've got a, they call it styled hood. So these are the newer tractors. It's a fairly, I think they're, for antiques, they're fairly close to, they're not obviously not stock, but you're not allowed to do like aluminum wheels and some of the fancier ignition systems and stuff like some of the national antiques and classics. But I'm not as up on the rules as I used to be in those classes.
So this is on the ITPA Facebook page for Wednesday. So I have a feeling this is what we're talking about.
That's exactly right. Yep, those are sponsored by LG Seeds. They sponsor the classic class every year there, so we're glad to have them on board, and it's good to get a good mix of vehicles. So
now, do you have some local pullers that run this class?
Yeah, there's a guy kind of out of several guys out of the Arthur area, which is within an hour of us there, and then I think that's probably some of the closest we have in that class.
And then light modifieds, is that your guys's? Is that a single engine class at ITPA? I can't remember.
Yeah, so it's Allison's single V8 and blown Hemis, and then also the turbines. So that's always a fun class, and they it's a very competitive class in our state, and it has been for years. Usually brings pretty good numbers. So that's kind of a mainstay that we've had for quite a while. So
that's the class that's got the other Bollinger mod in it. There's the Top Gun that kind of broke the internet when they put the superchargers on it, and everyone knows about it. But they've got a single engine Allison power plant, I believe. I don't remember what it's called, but I would imagine that's probably where it hooks. Am I in the ballpark with that?
Yeah, and then they've got there's several tractors that they work on. That the clerks have a tractor that they're kind of work on them together and stuff, and then the Lynch Mob tractor is another tractor besides the Bollinger tractor that all run those Allison power plants, and they're all really sharp looking tractors and really competitive in that class. So
yeah, it's fun. I like classes.
Sorry, Mike.
I was just saying, I really like classes, and we've got some in the Outlaw where it's a safe place for the old Allison power plants to go and still be competitive, because I think that's an aspect of tractor pulling that the new generation needs to experience. Back in the 70s and 80s, the Allisons were so powerful and so prominent, but there's getting to be less and less of them in the big classes. So anytime you can bring your kids out and they can experience what an Allison sounds like, that's a fun place and a fun class to have.
It's
It really is.
one of the coolest sounds in the world in Allison.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, the history behind it and everything's cool. I mean, it's something that growing up in Illinois, there was a bunch of, prominent Allison pullers, the Bollingers, and all those guys that ran. So I mean, that keeping the history going is important. And those guys, they all do such a good job of keeping their equipment looking nice and everything. So it really adds something to it. So.
Yeah, so Lynch Mob, Lane Bollinger, Drew DeClerc, Jaron Blumberg. That's a politician. That's a turbine tractor. I know that. John Young, Neil Roberts, Glenn McCum. I'm just rolling through the ITPA Facebook page. Those are some of the names.
Yeah, those last couple are Hemis there, and the Furkings have a couple Hemis that they've been running, and they've been doing real well this year. So it's a fun class, and we're always glad to have them there.
Nice.
Gonna be almost identical to like the light limited modifieds that we see in the Outlaws. Going to be very comparable, I'd imagine.
I think it's the exact same rules. I think there's actually Kurt and Ron have talked about some going back and forth on some of that. So
yeah, for sure.
Yep. 6850 Pro Farm on Wednesday night. Jacob, tell us about that class a little bit.
Yeah, so that's a small cubic inch, small charger diesel class. It was new a couple years ago. It's one of those that was intended to be an entry level class, and they've kind of taken it and run with it. There's a bunch of really sharp looking tractors, and they really run hard. They get a lot of track speed up, and they're all good looking tractors. But it's neat because there's a lot of different colors. We got some John Deere's, Oliver's, Minneapolis Molines, internationals and everything. So it's a cool class, and it's a fun one to watch. So
Heavy Super, is that diesel and alky both? You mix them up, Jacob?
Yeah, it's a combo class. So we've got the Hellbent tractor, is one of the diesels that runs here in Illinois, and then Novingers and Whitworth and Mises and Ray Gumersheimer's, some of the alcohols that run with us commonly. So that class is kind of making a resurgence a little bit here in the state. Hoping to get most of those guys there, and that's a new class this year for us. So we're pretty excited for that one as well. We're big super stock people. So that's a fun one.
Well, yeah, you are.
You mentioned the name Mies. That
Jacob, can you hear Mike?
I lost you there for a second.
Yeah, Mike, I don't hear you at all, buddy. We lost you. Mike, say something. He said Mies, and then I know do they still have the squealer tractor, Jacob?
Yeah, they do. And they were out at Newton getting things dialed in and everything. So they're planning on being there, and we actually bought our first super stock from those guys. So it's always exciting when the squealer runs. That's one that always turns heads, and they come to win when they come. So
now, do you guys weight up your light supers to jump in the heavy super, or is that no?
We used to, but we have 2-bar cages and stuff now. So we aren't, with SFI, we're not allowed to go up, and we just wouldn't probably be as competitive anymore as what they used to be. And gearing too, we used to have, 3 gears and stuff to be able to run with those guys. And we were kind of dialed in for what we're doing with the light class now. So things have changed so much there. So.
Yep. If you're just joining us, Let's Grow Pulling Monday, July 8th, live with Jacob Kessler from the Fisher Community Fair this Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. and then Thursday night, 7 p.m. We got a few minutes left with them. Then we're going to switch over to Rock Valley, Iowa. But we kind of going through the Wednesday night classes. Then your 11,000 Pro Farm, that's a pretty big class at ITPA, right?
Yeah, those tractors are pretty cool. Big cubic inch, and it's another one. Yeah, it's kind of I don't know if it's unique but to ITPA, but it's definitely a unique sound, and it's not something you see too common. And we've had pretty good numbers in that class, and we got red and green there. And it's a really competitive class with some pretty sharp looking tractors, and it's got a bunch of ground speed in it too. So it's new for this year. So we're really excited to see how that one, pans out and bring something just a little bit different to the show, on Wednesday night. So
absolutely. I was first introduced to those, Jacob, in Badger State. Obviously I live in Wisconsin, and then going to Gordyville over the years. I heard those big cube tractors from the ITPA. I was like, holy cow. So
yeah, it's pretty cool. And I mean, they're making huge horsepower, obviously, in those things. And so it's really neat.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Let's move to Thursday night then. So again, 6:30 on Wednesday night. And then Big Ditch Irrigation. That's your company, right? That's what you guys own?
Yeah. Yep. That's our, we sell and service T&L irrigation systems. So we partner together with TL and have sponsored, Thursday night. And then Murray Seed is a full service Pioneer dealer here locally, and they also sponsor the Thursday night show. And then we have Ealer Brothers and Bayer Crop Sciences are our big sponsors for Wednesday night. And yeah, so those are kind of some of the bigger sponsors we have for the polls that kind of make things go around and everything, and we really appreciate them. So
I see for Thursday night then, $2,500 to win, $1,000 for second for light supers, two-wheel drive trucks, and $8,500 limited pros. That's pretty smart there to pull some of the two-wheel drive trucks out of the woodwork that you guys have in Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the best in the country. So
a lot of good running two-wheel drives right there in the heart of Illinois. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, and those guys, they really support the ITPA well, and support the local organizations well. So we're hoping that that Nelson and Corzines and Austins and all that crew will come out, and they always put on a good show, and they've always got the best looking equipment around. And so that's something we try to get as many local classes, or classes with local pullers as we can within the county and neighboring counties. And so that was a big draw for the two-wheel drive trucks, and we're trying to boost our numbers a little bit by putting that carrot out there with the bigger purse. So
that helps a lot. So your 10.5 farm stock, I'm not familiar with that class. What's the basics of that, Jacob, on Thursday night with ITPA?
Yeah, it's like an older farm stock class. I believe it's 466 and a smaller charger and stuff. And it's more of an entry level class that the ITPA just added this year. There's some other organizations that have had the class, so we have a lot of local tractors that run that class, and it gives you the real like farm stock look with the roll bar instead of the roll cage and stuff, and all that. So it's something that we're excited to have. There's a lot of tractors in our county that run that class, and it's new with ITPA, so we're looking forward to having them and being a part of it.
I really like how you've mixed these classes up, Mike. I think you have to agree with me. Whether you like trucks or tractors, you're going to have a good time either night.
This is a great blend, and what this would do if I was a fan, I was thinking about